You know, I did not expect this. I had zero expectations for what was about to happen. And I'm really glad that it did. Hi, my name is Jared, and I own a marketing agency that helps businesses brand themselves online with the power of video. And at the time we were shooting strictly on Canon, but we really wanted to take our video game to the next level. And that's when we started looking at this camera here, the Fujifilm X-T3. I remember when I first saw this camera, I saw it on a YouTube video from Maddie Hapoya, and the first thing that I thought about was just how beautiful it looked. And then I started seeing more and more YouTubers talk about really the video capabilities of this little camera. And I'll be honest with you, I had really no idea about Fujifilm or who they are or what was special about them. But the first thing that really stuck out was the look of this camera. I don't know about you, but I, for one, I like standing out. It doesn't matter if it's a car or what I'm having for lunch. I don't like the ordinary, and I don't like kind of doing what everybody else does. So I do like to stand out, and especially where I live, all the videographers that I know were shooting almost strictly on Sony. And I thought, oh, what a great opportunity to get an amazing video camera that's not like what everybody else has. At that time, we were shooting pretty much strictly video. I didn't know that much about photography. And what photography I did was almost strictly drone photography. It did not take long for my mind to be made up that this is the camera that I wanted my team shooting with. And as soon as we received it and started shooting video on it, there was no doubt the quality that this little camera put out. We were all very impressed with it, and we just fell in love with it right away. And the number one thing about this camera that really changed my life is that it allowed me to develop a love for photography. And I bought this camera without having really any idea about its photo capabilities. I did not watch one review on this camera that talked about its photo capabilities. But as soon as we had it in hand and I started taking it home and shooting with it on my own time as a hobbyist, I immediately fell in love with the physical controls of this camera. I've heard a lot of people gripe about this and that they think it's easier for them to change their ISO and shutter on a Canon or Sony, but for me, that is not the case. I easily can change, and this is for photo and video, 48 frames a second to 120 if I'm switching for video. And especially for photo, it's just so easy to change my shutter speed. And then even with ISO, having the dial over here, and not on this lens, but most of my Fuji lenses like this, is I love the aperture ring. I love it. And yes, a few people have complained that it's easy to turn these things. Maybe, if you're not used to it, but it took me a weekend of shooting with this camera to get used to the settings. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I had no knowledge, really experience, or desire to learn photography. But it was when I put those photos in Lightroom, I was hooked. And from there, it just became an addiction to go out and shoot. And that's when I actually started watching tons of videos about photography, and especially photography with the Fuji system and this X-T3. So to dive deeper, how did it change my life? It revealed a passion and a desire for something that I didn't even know that I had. But even with that, it's more than just now a new hobby. Now, I put out a lot of content on social media, and that's one way that I, as a videographer, have really improved by putting out content. So I wanted to do the same thing with photos, and I didn't care if they weren't good. I didn't care if I didn't like them. I just wanted to learn, make, and then repeat. And I did that every day. And what that did for me is a few things. I started posting photos from this camera around like July and August of 2019. And at the time I only had 1,000 Instagram followers. And as of today, you know, the beginning of February 2020, I'm gonna hit 5,000 here probably this week. Not a huge number, but it's a big milestone for me that I'm excited about. And my Facebook page, I only had 100 followers on my Facebook page, and now I do have over 5,000 Facebook followers. Now, is that because of photos from this camera? I don't know. There's a lot of variables that go into that. Putting out content, having a plan, but it definitely played a huge role in wanting me to get out and shoot and create. Another way that it changed my life is it helped me connect with other photographers. I live in Rochester, New York, which is the home of Kodak. There's a lot of photographers here, and I had nothing in common with any of these people. I was not even really friends with them because I was in my lane, and this opened me up to a very welcoming community in my area that embraced me, that taught me, that would answer my Instagram DMs about when I'd be like, okay, for this type of photo, why do I want this shutter speed, this ISO? And YouTube tutorials are great, but there's just something special about that one-on-one interaction that's just so helpful. The next way is it really expanded my creativity times 10. It took me from being in the box kind of videographer to now looking at things from a completely different perspective in photography. So when I do go on a client shoot, I can look at it from both angles now. I can see things that maybe that I would see if I was taking photography, as opposed to how I would have shot that in video. And I really think that gives me a great advantage. I have people here that are friends but competition who just do photo and just do video, and they're really good at that. But I like to think what makes me unique and gives me an advantage is that I am now very actively doing both. Now, the last thing that I have for you all on how this really changed my life is monetarily. It's doubled my business. Now I'm very confident to offer photography services. I'm getting DMs and emails and calls regularly for business and client shoots, whether that's something from like headshots to brand shoots for products or influencers, and especially real estate photography. I know not everybody loves real estate photography, but it's a great gig. I was offering real estate photography before, but at the time I wasn't thrilled with the product I was putting out. It worked for the homes that I was shooting, but those were really cheap, low budget homes, you know, $100,000 or less. And it worked for what I was doing. I could knock out a lot of them, but it didn't give me the confidence to reach out to these higher end realtors. And as soon as I had the opportunity to shoot a listing with this camera, that's all that I needed. And from there, I was so confident, like I said, to reach out to these realtors. Look at the photography that we offer for listings. We would love to help you out. And that has opened up the door to so many great relationships with entrepreneurs who are realtors in my area. It's not just providing a professional service to them, but it's also, you know, being in their circle and building relationships and learning from them. I don't know what real estate photography goes for in your area. There's so many variables, right? Whether it's the price of the home, the relationship you have with the realtor, your experience, how long you've been doing it. But realistically, I went from shooting homes for no more than $100 a shoot. Now I just quoted a home today just for photography for $500. And whether that number is a lot or a little to you in your area, to go from 100 to 500 to do the same thing that I was doing, that's a pretty good investment in my book. Let's wrap this up. It's no secret that the X-T3 is coming out later this month. We're not 100% sure what the price will be, and the features, yes, look amazing. I'm excited about it. I'll probably get it. But this X-T3 is not going anywhere. I highly, highly recommend this camera if you've been thinking about purchasing it, whether for photo or video. It's a phenomenal hybrid camera. It does both of those things exceptional. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I would love for you to check me out on Instagram. I'll put the link below. If you like this video, would you please hit that like button? Subscribe if you haven't already. My goal is with this channel is to provide as much value as possible to people who are looking to learn more about photo and video. With all the videos that you could be watching on YouTube, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this one. I'll see you next time. Peace.